Hey, all you Cannon heads out there. We here at Creating Cannon are wishing you all health and safety during these difficult times. Take care of yourselves, reach out if you need help, and above all else, be kind. We thank you for being a part of this community, and we hope this show can give you a laugh and a little bit of distraction. All right, on with the show. Hello, and welcome to Creating Cannon with your hosts, AJ Hamilton and no conceivable pants.
Or conceivable plot.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
But that's giving things away, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
That's too much off the top.
Right,
Right on.
and the bottoms.
Hey. Oh, good Lord.
Jesus.
Hey, Nick. This is Nicholas C. Pappas.
Why, thank you.
Heck yeah,
oh
buddy.
Oh my gosh, it's me.
It's you.
Hi, everybody, it's me.
What is this, a Nick Jr. show?
Honestly, I am broken.
Oh, man.
I'm a broken man.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I've been sensing it from the last 30 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
Or longer.
Oh, my God.
Hey, Nick.
Yes.
You know what movie we watched?
I do know what movie we watched.
I do, too, because I just was forced to watch it.
Yes, it was 1987's Gore. Not G-O-R-E, as
Unfortunately.
in, like, a gory movie, but G-O-R, Gore.
Period.
Yes.
Yeah.
G-O-R, period.
Ugh. Hey, little disclaimer
Yeah.
up at the top. This is based on a book.
Yes.
And we do not have any familiarity with it whatsoever.
Well,
so any questions we have may be answered by the book, but don't comment that because we don't care.
No, seriously. It's a book by John Norman, because actually, technically, the movie is also known as John Norman's Gore. Apparently, this was a hugely popular series, like a sci-fi fantasy series.
Oh, interesting.
Of the 60s and 70s. And I'm guessing it's sort of like, looking at the covers online, it looks sort of like they were trying to capture like the Edgar Rice Burroughs, John Carter of Mars
That's
feel.
what I was thinking. Yeah, I mean, it felt exactly like that kind of storyline.
Yeah.
Where a person finds a...
Hey,
what a port...
Hey,
sorry.
That's part of my plot.
Oh, God, I'm sorry. Thank you for catching me.
Quit stepping on my toes.
Let's do this.
Okay.
And since we already ruined it, go ahead and say the plot.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Tarl Cabot. Yes, I said Tarl. That's not I did not misspeak. I wasn't trying to say Carl. I said Tarl, T-A-R-L.
What if it was Carl Tabbitt and nobody corrected it on the
Tabbitt? Nobody corrected it on the first day?
Exactly. Continue.
Everyone is just dyslexic on set?
Hey, maybe John Norman was dyslexic when he was writing the books. Who knows? I'm sorry. Go back to your...
Allegedly. I don't want to be sued by the Norman
I said
estate.
Maybe he could have been.
Oh, my God.
That's as good as allegedly.
I can't believe you're making dyslexia jokes.
I'm not. I'm raising a concern for the man.
Yes. Well, anyways.
Go ahead.
Tarl Cabot, a nerdy professor from Earth, is transported to planet Misogyny, a.k.a. Gore. There he sees a lot of lanky white butts and saves the homestone. I fell asleep while watching Gore.
It's true, he did. I had to wake him up.
You did.
And
I've
didn't
never
miss
been
anything
madder in my entire life.
That I reintroduced you to the world.
Honestly, I woke up and I thought it was all going to be a dream. And next thing I knew, nope, this is my reality.
Incorrect.
We were, 15 minutes in when I was like, please tell me we're halfway done.
Right.
And you checked the time, and
it was 15
I gave it away, but we were 15 minutes in.
It was bad. I'm sorry, everyone. I will say this movie started out at a disadvantage for me already because as opposed to a lot of people out there, and I don't begrudge anybody any genre that they appreciate.
Oh, this should be fun.
But I am actually not a fan of fantasy.
What?
I like Lord of the Rings. I appreciate. I really enjoy a lot of different nerdy things. But
no shit.
I
look around.
That was a reference to
yes.
my lair that we record in.
If I had to guess,
yes.
I am sitting amongst somewhere between 3,000 and 5,000 action figures.
I think that's a little much, but yeah,
You
it's
think
close.
so? I will count them.
We'll come back to you when he's done. But I would go for science fiction before fantasy. I would go for superhero. I would go for just anything. Like,
You're literally looking around at all your action figures being like,
Yes.
oh, I would go for Willy Wonka.
Yep, Toy
There's
Story.
a Willy Wonka action figure sitting here.
Yep. There's
I
also
would
a John
go
Wick.
for-
I would go for action.
Wait,
I
there's
would
a
go
John
for,
Wick?
Yeah, right over there. He's a pop figure right
Oh my
there.
god.
I also have a bigger one. It's fine.
I
I meant
so
bigger
much.
gun, but no.
I got a bigger wick.
Yeah, Transformers. I mean, it's just my issue.
How dare you?
My issue with
dare you.
fantasy is that it throws you into a new world that is not based on any history that we have, and therefore it has to establish a hell of a lot of places, a hell of a lot of people, a hell of a lot
I'm so
of
sorry. You
history.
don't like long monologues of pure exposition where they say a bunch of nonsense words? This isn't interesting to you?
In the eons before, which we don't call eons because we have another word for years.
Neo-moffers.
There were these 15 people that...
There was substephalos pharmaceutical plot panteras.
And they came from the hills of Blanderplabberflans.
Oh, Blanderplabberflans.
And they rode their gonkadonks. Yeah, I mean, okay, I'm shitting on this whole genre, and I'm sorry to whoever appreciates it, but it just it doesn't hook me at all. Man.
This is like, I cannot believe, like, I am having this conversation with you. Because I am exactly the same way.
Hey!
There
we go.
Hey, friends, how you doing? Oh, yeah, all right.
We didn't even commit to the
No, we didn't even
handshake.
commit to the fake handshake.
That's fine.
Yeah, so I am in the same boat as you. Fantasy can be very tough for me.
It's tedious.
And yes, I think that's a really great word. Especially, there's two kinds of fantasy that are very hard for me personally. You kind of already named it. Like Lord of the Rings, I actually enjoy. I found that to be... I was there, I was with it. And, like, technically Harry Potter is fantasy as well.
I suppose,
And,
but...
and I'm down the Harry Potter path. I'm good with that.
I think the caveat to that is that it exists within
Our
our world, and
True.
therefore it builds upon
True.
and I know this is a fish out of water thing, but it feels
Right.
like he's not a fish out of water after like 15 minutes in.
Well, that's a whole
But
other
whatever.
story.
But go ahead.
Which is the story we're going to talk about here.
I guess we have to.
But I also am not a huge fan of, like, dragons. So the second a dragon comes on screen, I have a really hard time buying the movie.
Spoiler: there's no dragons.
There's
in
no
this.
dragon in
Sorry.
this. But I can tell you that, like, I couldn't hang with Game of Thrones. I might be, like, one of only 3 people on the planet. Because the second I knew dragons, I'm out.
That was when I started getting interested in it.
That's interesting. Then you love fantasy.
No, there was just a
lying
lot of talking
fucker.
before that.
But I also dislike this weird, we're going to transport you to another planet and make up a bunch of nonsense things and then just have people say these nonsense things over and over and over again while another character goes, what? Why? Huh? I don't understand. Explain that to me. And then we move forward through nonsense land where nothing actually adds up.
Right.
Which is why, I mean, like, if we talk about Lord of the Rings, I mean, there's a lot of nonsense going on. But it all feels like it's of a whole and it adds up.
Because it was created so intricately, you know?
Yes. Well, and I also think, too, part of the issue I have with fantasy, and maybe this is actually a really interesting distinction to make, is I enjoy good fantasy, I think. Because, like, Lord of the Rings is good fantasy.
Sure.
I don't know if you saw John Carter of Mars.
I did.
I actually thought it was enjoyable.
I don't know why they took the of Mars off of there. That would have gotten like
a little
15 million more views at least.
Perhaps.
I don't know.
But I found that movie at least interesting enough, and they did fascinating things with him being super strong because he's used to Earth gravity.
Sure.
There's a bunch of stuff like that I actually kind of enjoyed in John Carter that this was missing, and this was just bad fantasy that felt like it was made for about $17.
Yeah, about that.
And I think that's actually what it is. And I think so much of fantasy is actually either one of two roads. One is it's incredibly good,
Yeah.
or it's incredibly bad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there is fantasy that's fine.
Yeah. Well, and I think the appeal to fantasy is that you almost have ownership over it if you study it enough. Because then you have researched all of the places, you understand where these people are going and where they've come from, and it's almost like learning a new language.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
and if you internalize that, then it is your world now.
Exactly. Well, and I'm sure Tarnsman of Gore, which is the novel that this movie is based on,
Right.
is part of a gigantic series.
Okay.
And so not only do we have lore, so number one,
Right.
and the fact that you have 150, 200, 300, 400 pages
Right.
to fill in all of the nonsense.
Yeah.
And you don't have to hear it spoken out loud. So when you just have actors who are half naked,
Half-assing it.
half-assing it, because
They're bad.
that is one
Some of them
thing
are
we should
bad.
mention about this movie is literally there are no pants in the movie.
Right.
Everybody wears some form of diaper
Or loincloth.
or loincloth
Or long shirt.
or like just a long shirt.
Yeah.
And they also do that kind of like stupid thing with fantasy where it's like there were regular horses in this movie, except they had like bright blue or green tails. And otherwise they were just horses.
Right.
And I'm like, that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, fuck off.
Try harder.
Yeah. Oh, but what I was going to say about like the novels and stuff
Yeah.
is, you know, even if you only have 150 pages, you can at least make this stuff feel real
And lived
build
in.
it in the story and feel
Yeah,
lived in.
yeah.
Whereas like this is 94 minutes of my life I will never get back. No, it's 94 minutes long.
Yep. Of sort of
It's just-
slapdash trying to hit points in the book.
Well, exactly. And we're assuming.
I guess.
But like, if you consider the first 10 minutes of the movie, Tarl.
it's never going to not be funny.
No, it's not. It felt like vomit rising out of my mouth when I said it.
Love it.
The first 10 minutes of the movie is just Tarl on Earth. And then all of a sudden, Tarl's on this planet.
Yep.
And
there you go.
it spends about 9 minutes getting him ready to start the journey.
That montage was infuriating.
Well, we'll get there.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, maybe we should just start with, like, I don't even know what to fucking start with.
So he starts out in an Indiana Jones type college thing.
Well, you actually have to go
Where-
one step further.
Oh, do we?
Because there is this really weird, like, the most epic music you've ever seen over the credits. Like, or heard, I should say.
Whatever.
It's so epic. It's big. It's like...
That's kind of a running theme.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah. And you actually called this, so I'm going to steal this from you. But
Please.
It feels like it's a ripoff of the Superman theme.
It really does, yeah.
And all of a sudden, like, the music swells and we cut out of the credits
Yeah.
to an out-of-focus shot of what we find out is a college, but I'm pretty sure it was shot from 3 towns away because somebody on set is not allowed to be near a college. And, like, it actually made me laugh.
You asked if it was out of focus or if it was just low quality, and I was like, no, that's out of focus.
Yeah,
That's
well,
excellent.
and then when we got to
Horrible.
the next shot, it was like, oh no, that is it. Really
Most
was
of this
just-
movie is.
Well, enough of it is in focus that we know that it wasn't a low quality transfer, like
Right,
some of
right.
the other movies that we've seen.
True.
By the way, if you do want to watch this movie, and I do not recommend it, you should check it out. It's on Amazon Prime for free as of the recording.
Yep.
So
So just the right amount of money.
I will say that the sequel to this, which is also a canon film,
Yes.
was done by Mystery Science Theater 3000,
Oh, fun.
and I can tell why. They
I'm
were
surprised they didn't do this one.
They were shot back to back.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Which is why it ends on a cliffhanger.
Oh!
What a cliffhanger it is. We'll get to
Sylvester
that.
Stallone?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so then we are in the Indiana Jones style.
Yeah, a college explanation of his family ring that he has. That
Which looks like a fucking like a piece of wood painted gold with a fucking ring pop or a
Jolly
jujube
Rancher.
or a Jolly Rancher stuck on top of it.
Yes. Oh man, and he babbles on, and this is where it starts. This is where the fantasy thing starts, where he's like, "This was my father's, and this supposedly came from a faraway something or other named Gore." Is that where we find out?
Yeah,
the name
that's
Gore?
the weird thing, because he's like, "This is my father's," and it transports you to Gore, and there's a thing that I'm trying to figure. And again, this is where fantasy fails me.
Yeah,
is like from the very beginning, it's a bunch of fucking nonsense. And I can't even I don't even, what is he talking about? It's like, have you ever seen a movie, and it often happens in the fantasy genre, or the extreme science fiction genre, where it has a title card, and the title card will be like, "In the middle of the desert, John Frankenstock had a child who was prophesized to be the king a half a page, and it's like,
this is where our story begins.
And then you're
something
like,
I
don't even know what the fuck is happening.
Who are all those people?
Right.
Honestly, it feels like a Thomas Pynchon novel where it introduces you to 15 different characters.
You're fucking highbrow now.
Yeah, no, I've seen Inherent Vice, and that movie pissed me the fuck off.
I enjoyed Inherent Vice.
It's a fine movie, but it just does that shit where Josh Brolin will list 15 different people's names in a conversation over pancakes, and then you have to keep that all in your brain until you find one of them in the future.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, yes.
I like pancakes. I like Pynchon.
That's fine. I like Pynchon pancakes. That's the new IHOP meal.
Yeah. The Rudy Tooty Pynchon Fruity pancakes?
That's right.
Yeah.
Moving on from this bit.
We've lost everybody.
That's all right.
Anyways, we find out that Tarl has a... just like your face every time I say it.
Tarl? It's like you're making up something. Like you've made up other names on this that are less fucking ridiculous. Frankenstock? I wouldn't laugh at that.
No, Frankenstock is fine.
Yeah.
Tarl.
Sorry, I got this. Tarl.
Just say it out loud, because it's fun to let that roll out of your throat.
And I also think of
hairball.
I think of Walking Dead. Coral.
Tarl.
And Merle. And Durl.
And Durl. And Burl.
Okay. So, he has a girlfriend who seems to be his TA also.
Yeah.
And they're supposedly going on vacation, and this is all bullshit that leads up to this, but he is emasculated by a cooler teacher?
I think it's a teacher.
Sure. Who is
is played by Arnold Vosloo.
Right.
Whose first line he pulls up, he sees Tarl, and he goes, "How's life's greatest reason for birth control?" Which,
oh god,
there was part of me who wasn't quite sure if he was saying that because it was Tarl and his girlfriend Beverly,
sure,
who were both sitting there, and I wasn't sure if he was saying it to Tarl because Tarl is so stupid that he should never have been born, or if it was like, oh man, I want to fucking raw dog Beverly so bad, but I don't want kids, so thank God for birth control.
It's entirely possible.
Yeah.
And what's his name? Alfonso something? Rivera?
Arnold Vosloo.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Who is the Mummy from The Mummy. He was also in Hard Target. He had a long stint on the TV show Bone. Well, not a long stint, but he was one of the big bads on Bones.
Right. I love him. And it was funny because he had hair in this, and I was like, I don't recognize you, man.
Yeah, that's what threw you off, I think.
Who are you? I recognized him at the end, which was odd, but he insults him a couple more times about having no fashion sense or something like that, therefore showing that our lead is a nerd and incapable of pleasing a woman, maybe, I don't know. And so
are you saying nerds can't please women?
That's right. That's absolutely right. Yeah.
Okay.
I said and
got it. I just wanted to make sure.
Mutually exclusive. But they, so he's all dejected, and they even show that he's closed his fishing pole in the car door.
Because he's such a spaz.
He is such an idiot.
Yeah, he is spaz, and he can't even hold the fishing pole.
No, he's dropping it all over the place.
Because he's a spaz.
What a loser.
What?
And so we cut to him driving
his name
away.
Is Tarl.
Stop it. Stop it. So he's driving away in the rain to his vacation.
Which is
It's
a
gonna be
cabin on the lake.
Super sad.
Yeah.
And he drives into a tree.
Well, first of all,
No, that's
it is completely dry. And then all of a sudden, buckets of rain start falling.
And probably it was buckets.
And then he drives into a tree, and it's completely dry again. And driving into the tree comes with the weirdest, greatest explosion I've ever seen in my entire life. Because
It's like fireworks.
well, what happens is he hits that tree, and they set up the explosion behind the tree.
Right.
So it was like, I don't know.
We are still on the first 10 minutes of this. We're not even to gore.
Yeah. Well, we're about to get there because what happens is
are.
then the camera pans around the car.
Yep.
And Tarl is dead. Nope.
Go.
Lied.
Just kidding.
He's gone.
What?
He is not in the
Where
car.
did he go? What?
Tarl was not in the tar. He was on Gore.
What?
I know, you're shocked.
Wow.
The sword work. So the first thing he sees on Gore is Oliver Reed. That Oliver Reed.
That's right. From Dr. Heckle and Mr. Hype.
He's also in Gladiator,
I know.
which is, an Oliver, which I think is funny because he's Oliver Reed.
Yeah.
But he's also in The Master of Dragonard, which is another canon film.
Yes.
Gore 2 and Master of Dragonard Hill are all movies written by Richard Marx and Alan Towers.
Oh, nice.
Who are those are
Creative
all
team of this.
canon films. Yeah.
Right.
And Rick Marx, I also want to point out that he did Puss in Boots.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm
Not
sorry.
the canon version of Puss in Boots.
Oh, I was confused.
Yeah.
Not the Christopher Walken one.
No.
Do you think he might have been in this one?
Christopher Walken?
Yeah, in this one that Rick Marx wrote?
No, because the Rick Marx version of Puss in Boots,
Yeah.
it's a porno.
There are scripts to pornos?
Apparently.
Huh. All right.
Who do you think writes all of that stuff?
The clever dialogue, you mean?
Oh, Tarl. Oh, Tarl. Oh, Tarl. I've never had a plumber named Tarl before.
Oh, Tarl the pizza delivery man.
Yeah. Tarl the mechanic.
Okay.
Anyway, so
Tarl appears in this desert world, and he sees this army attacking an enclave, a town.
Oh, yeah, it's Oliver Reed's army.
Yeah, yes.
Oliver Reed's character's name is
Sarm. Sure.
Yeah.
Be prepared for more dumb names like that.
Nonsense. I feel like this is definitely an episode we're going to go letter on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Cease and desist from John Norman.
Sorry, bud.
Hey, this is not funny. My brother Tarl Norman and Sarum Norman cried last night. So did my children Torm and Elder.
And Hup?
And
How about Hup?
And Suribus. Jesus Christ. These are all names in this movie.
Why, though?
Oh, fuck. Anyways.
Yeah.
So there is a town that the Oliver Reed's people are attacking.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get this thing
I'm sure
called
it had a name, too. But
and I don't even remember.
Yep.
This thing called the Homestone,
Right.
which looked like an old piece of pink bubble gum, but gigantic.
And plastic.
And plastic.
It was clearly not made of anything heavier than that.
The sword work is fucking embarrassing.
Well, these things are like double the size of these people and clearly like plastic or wood.
They were definitely wood.
Right? And it's weird because later on they kind of use normal swords.
Yeah, well, these are like
times.
These are like
comically
He-Man large broadswords. Yeah, like they're He-Man swords.
Right.
That's actually a really great. Like these are leftover props from Masters of the Universe.
It might be.
And what's amazing too is like Tarl is watching this, and it's like all in close up, and Tarl seems to be like, oh no, watch out for that.
Like he has binoculars or
like
something.
he has, but like when we cut to Tarl, he is literally
like half a mile away.
At least, and then on top of that, he has no clue who the fuck the good guys are.
Nope.
Who the bad guys are. He has no clue whatsoever.
No.
Yet he is invested in this like he knows what the fuck is going on.
He has been transported in media res.
Oh, yeah. Boy.
Bah.
Bah. And eventually what ends up happening is he is seen by Oliver Reed, and Oliver Reed's character sends his son to go get that thing, that man. Mm-hmm. And there's that awesome scene where Tarl is running away from the horse. And it was comical. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Well, this whole movie was a comedy, right?
Yeah, there were definitely great moments of comedy in this.
Boy.
Where... Just when he's running from the horse, oh god!
But
he accidentally kills Oliver Reed's son.
Well, he gets a net thrown over him.
Yes,
and then he throws the net back at the horse, and it trips the horse, and then, somehow he gets a sword.
Well, what happened? No. What happens is when he trips the horse,
right?
The horse falls over. I think animals were harmed in the making of this movie.
Might have been.
And then the actor is also probably harmed.
Right.
Because what ends up happening is, like, he kills the guy on the horse because the horse, like, crushes him. That's when Tarl runs over and grabs the sword.
Okay, yeah.
Pulls out the sword. Another guy comes running by. Tarl turns, and as he turns, he accidentally cuts that guy in half.
Sure.
And everyone's like, oh, he's a great warrior. Oh,
he's like Mr. Magooing this shit.
Yes, he really is. That's actually a great reference. And he's definitely dressed like the worst professor in the world.
Right.
And at this point, one of Oliver Reed's men goes back to Oliver Reed and he's like, oh no, they killed your son. And Oliver Reed's like, get that man. Because
this is why you fell asleep.
He is now my enemy.
I think you're a little too loud on that.
And a little too fast. I swear to God, Oliver Reed was paid by the pause. Because for fuck's sake.
He was just trying to get that golden hour money,
yeah.
You know? Fuck.
Hey, nice inside baseball reference.
Yeah. That and 500.
Oh, my Lord.
So, yeah, and this is actually the same inciting incident as Zebra Force. If you think about it, remember the dead mobster's son who we never meet and never can relate to?
Yeah. In some ways it is.
It's the exact same movie.
This movie does not have the responsible blackface that Zebra Force had.
Go back and listen to that episode.
Yeah.
But so he is hailed kind of by the...
Tarl, you mean. You gotta say it.
Tarl is hailed by the remaining people who got their homestone stolen.
Yeah, and the remaining people are...
Talena,
who is played by Rebecca Ferrati,
yep,
who's in Beverly Hills Cop 2, Three Amigos, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Nice.
And Gore 2.
Hey.
I don't mean to reduce her like this, but the movie reduces her like this.
Yep.
She is basically Italian boobs.
And hair.
Right? And then we have Torm, who's different than Tarl.
Yep.
We've got Torm, Tarl, and Talena. These are like our three lead characters.
Yeah, of course.
Torm is played by Rufus Swart. He was the Cyborg and Cyborg cop.
Good.
He was also in Richard Stanley's Dust Devil. Which, side note, Richard Stanley's new movie, Colors Out of Space.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Check it out.
Color Out of Space.
Endorsement from half of the hosts of
you haven't
Creating
seen it
Cannon.
yet,
I have not, no.
It's fun.
Cool.
It's unhinged. Nick Cage. It's fun.
Perfect.
But anyways, he just has these, like, his whole entire character is basically like small Fabio, mullet,
the
huge,
biggest fucking eyes,
wide unblinking eyes, but like the kind of eyes that are unblinking where you can see the entire whites around the eyes.
Reminded me of Brendan Fraser in Encino Man. His whole performance
kind of had that thing going on. Or if you've ever seen you ever seen Mom and Dad Save the World?
Oh, sure.
You know when Jeffrey Jones's character goes to Eric Idle's kids. One is played by Kathy Ireland.
Yeah.
And they're like the gigantic bird people.
Yes, yeah.
The son. And I can't remember that character's name or who plays him, but that's who he is. And then we have a character whose name is Elder, and I'm not sure if it's because his name is Elder or if he was an elder.
I think it was his role in society.
Was just to be old?
Was the old guy.
Yeah.
And he probably, you know what was the problem? His real name was probably something like Timothy or something like that. And they were like, too many T names. Let's just call him Elder.
Tarl, Talena, Torm, and Timothy. Played by Alex Haynes, who is in Gore 2, of course. yet again a Cannon movie. And
Of
then
course.
Alan Quartermain and the Lost City of Gold.
Oh, hey, neat.
Yet another Cannon movie.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, what a guy.
Yeah. And at this point, they're having this conversation where they are doing the whole, like, let me tell you about our city and our home stone. You cannot tell him about our home stone. I can tell, like...
Look at his ring and blah, blah, blah.
But what you're missing is the over-pronunciation.
Oh, yeah.
And this is also where I wrote down, this is all fucking nonsense.
Yeah, no, I think I had that right in here. Yeah, fucking nonsense, right in my notes.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. I am glad that we both had that same moment.
On the same page.
On the same page. And Tarl is like, I'm not who you think I am.
He's just a fish out of water kid,
Oh,
you know.
I'm not here to save your city.
What? I'm just an earthling. And it's surprising that they don't freak out, but they're explaining this so matter-of-factly because apparently this has happened a bunch before.
Yes.
There's been people that have come from Earth.
Which my guess is Tarl.
Yeah.
This is my guess.
Mm-hmm.
Tarl.
Yes?
I'm just trying to say Tarl as many times as
I know
can.
you are.
Tarl is actually from Gore.
Mm.
And his father brought him to Earth. And that's why his name is Tarl.
Right.
And my guess is that is how... Because this also connects to something that happens at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But long story short, this movie actually sets up the sequel immediately in it.
It does.
Where, and we'll get to who it is, but basically a character goes, there is one person who could stop me, and that is Tarl Cabot. And my guess is that's part of the, through some sort of prophecy.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why his father brought him to Earth and raised him on Earth. But he still kept his gory name. Gorgarian name? Goran name?
Gorian.
Gorian?
Corporeal.
Corporeal?
No.
Anyways.
Yes.
So, yes.
And it's never actually stated, or maybe it was. I stopped listening to half of the dialogue, honestly. But I surmised that it's possible that the reason he was transported from to Gore was because the homestone was in danger?
I think so.
I mean, that kind of is the only reason that it makes sense, or that he was in danger.
I think it's
but
the
timing
in danger.
Yeah, that's what I think. He might be a defender of it.
Yes, because spoiler alert, or also if you have two fucking eyes and you're watching the movie, that pink plastic stone and the pink plastic homestone, are the same thing.
Exactly.
Like, one is a piece of the other. We see that at the end.
Well,
he
kind
shoves his ring into the homestone.
They could just
and
be
that sends him back
a
to
matching
Earth.
pair.
So anyways, this leads to them being like, well, we can't tell our people that he is not a warrior because they will lose courage and
lose faith in getting the homestone back.
So they go ahead and do a training montage.
The worst training montage
honestly ever. This movie, that training montage, he becomes an expert in swordplay.
Yep.
And an expert in archery.
Yep.
And
after missing a couple of times.
After missing twice, but Italian boobs can, like, shoot immediately and perfectly.
She's great.
I am not sure if he was on the planet Gore and doing that montage for a year or an hour.
Who knows?
Or 11 minutes. A year, an hour, or 11 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's also, I wasn't sure how far we were into the movie. Because all three of those things were correct simultaneously.
It felt like it.
Yeah.
And as opposed to any good montage, this one did not show development.
No.
It didn't show slight advancements in skill. It showed him as the most piss-poor archer and swordsman ever. And then the next scenes of him doing these activities, he was a fucking expert. There was no in-between.
Nothing.
At all. And it wasn't over a cool, like, Rocky music montage. It was some weird lute or something. I don't know what it is.
At this point, they were like, yes, he's good enough to get us back the homestone, so let's go to Oliver Reed. So they start going towards where Oliver Reed is staying, and there's one of my favorite lines in the movie where the elder goes, it's something like, watch out for the man's hand on this land of sand, and we can go where we're going. And he's not trying to do the
Fucking
rhyming
wrote this.
thing, but the rhymes are there. And I laughed so fucking hard.
And also, that was around the time that they had left the cave, and there was this weird thing. Usually they cut a scene as people are walking off into the distance to start it.
Yes.
And there was this odd thing where Torm said, "Oh, can I put this in your bag?" And he walks over to the elder and he like gives him something and puts it in his bag.
Yeah.
Nothing important, nothing relevant. It just felt
It's like a jacket.
Yeah. It
It's
just
like a light coat.
it almost felt like if it was a more clever movie, it would be a punchline or something. I don't know. But it felt like an outtake.
Well, what happened, I'm assuming what happened is because that was all ADR. And there is so many weird ADR in this movie.
Yep.
Especially from Torm, where it's just like, Torm will just be like, "Hey, I gotta get my sword. Oh, my sword's in the hole. I gotta go grab my sword. Wait 1 second. There's my sword over there."
Maybe that was character.
Maybe
An
that was the
aspect
thing,
of his
like,
character.
He just narrated everything he did.
Yeah.
But it was so weird because it happened constantly and repeatedly, where it was just like, and what you would expect is the second he puts that thing in the bag, later on, either the bag would go missing and he'd be like, "Oh my god, my invisibility cloak.
That was so important to me."
Yeah, or he'd be like, "Give me the thing from the bag. It'll save us in the situation."
Yes. Yeah. Doesn't pay off.
Nope. And what was really funny is the second he said, "I got to put this in your bag," AJ and I looked at each other and said, "That's not
coming back.
It's not coming back."
No.
And
that was irrelevant.
We were right.
Then they
get to a certain point.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
and yeah, that's what I was going to say. They find a slave trade sort of city.
Well, what happens first is they get to a point where they're like, "We need to go get more supplies."
Oh, sure.
And it's the weirdest thing because all of a sudden Torm rips off Tarl's sleeves.
That's right.
And like wraps up Telena's arms, and she's like, "Treat me like a slave."
Well, not like that, but
That's
close.
what she says. "Treat me like a slave."
Oh, I know, but not in a sexy way.
Because apparently this is Misogyny Planet, and women are not allowed to. Women are only slaves.
Yes.
So they get to the slave trading post.
Well, especially when they're on Mos Eisley.
You know, I mean, in a weird way, because there is a whole. Oh my god, fucking shit. This is where like. This is where the butt cheek really made me uncomfortable.
It was quite a meat market.
Yeah. And like men and women, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's not just women.
Equal objectification.
Yeah. But these were like, every person in this movie did not have hips.
Right.
So it was just like a string bean with an ass crack.
Right.
And they were like the lankiest white asses.
And like jazzercise from the 90s.
Uncomfortable.
Oh, I was too.
So much lanky white butt. That I wanted to, like, I was about to crack. Hey,
I get it. It's a good pun. I'm moving on.
Thank you. But basically what happens is, at this point, Elder is like, "I'm gonna go get stuff," and Tarl is like, "What's that cave?"
Oh,
and they're like, "It's a tavern.
that's a bar.
Don't go in there. It's really bad."
That's gonna be bad.
And he's like, "I'm gonna go in there."
No, we should all go. And they all go.
And they all go. They all follow him.
And before they get in, the owner of the bar,
He's played
by who is it?
Paul L. Smith.
Okay.
Who he's definitely a
E-O.
ting tang walla walla bang bang ooh-ee. He's played by Paul Smith, who is a canon staple. He was in Caged Fury, Haunted Honeymoon, Desert Kickboxer.
I can't wait for that one.
But you might know him most as Bluto in Robert Altman's Popeye. If you've ever seen the movie Pieces, which is a delightful horror film that its tagline is, "It's exactly what you think it is," with the title called Pieces, and it is exactly what you think it is.
Oh, he was also in Dune.
Yep, which this movie had sort of a Dune-esque thing going on.
Not at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, right, whatever. And he was also in Red Sonja, which is the most unwatchable Arnold Schwarzenegger movie ever.
Oh.
And he was in Maverick.
I'm going to not check that out.
Yeah. You know who else was in Maverick?
Who that is?
Them Gibson Bones.
Oh, that's right.
Them Gibson Bones.
Yeah, I'm not going to check that one either.
Yeah, them Gibson Bones.
I know.
Maverick's actually still a delightful movie.
It's a fine movie.
Yeah.
It's a romp.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So the tavern owner, he comes out and he just shoves people constantly.
That's his entire character.
Constantly. And then he picks up this little person named Hup.
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 He lifts him up and he hangs him on a coat hanger or a hook.
Basically, outside of the barn, he's like, I'm going to come back and slit your throat.
Yeah,
also,
if you don't get out of here.
Your ass cheeks are hanging out.
Of course they are. And Hup, to me, looks like a compact version of Dolph Lundgren. Right? I think that would...
You can't argue
Thank you.
with that.
I know. And so he's hanging out in more of the ways than one as they go into the bar, into the tavern. And it's unclear, but when they get in there, it is...
Butt cheeks?
Butt cheek,
and
butt
dancing.
cheek, butt cheek, yes. And sort of fighting. There's like...
Kinda. And what ends up happening is Paul Smith is just staring at Italian boobs.
Of course.
And that scene goes on for like 7 minutes where he's just staring at her and they don't notice him. And he starts throwing people away as he's walking over to her. And they're like, we really should go. This is not a good idea. And Tarl is like, but... I want to stay here.
Yeah. We're at least waiting for our first drink, and then we'll go.
Yeah,
Just one drink, guys.
Just one drink. And then...
Paul Smith comes over, and he sees that Talena has the fake...
I'm sorry, what?
Talena? Talena? Italian boobs. I'm sorry.
Got it.
So Italian boobs has the fake arm clasps, or whatever they are.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's not how a slave should be restrained. That's ridiculous. Hey... I'll have my girl fight your girl, and then I'll give you a bunch of supplies that you might need.
Well, they needed a map. They were looking
a map
for
as
a
well.
map
But he also said
Oliver
he'd
Reed.
give some money or some
No,
supplies.
all he said was, I will give you the map. If my girl...
he
if
said
your girl wins,
you
you
seem
get
like
the map.
you need some supplies and maybe a map.
Yes.
I don't know, whatever.
But if my girl wins...
I get your girl, and I get to cut your head off.
Kill you, Tarl.
Sure.
Torum, I don't give a shit about you. Get your creepy eyes away from me.
You two can leave.
Yeah.
So he cuts off the restraints of both of the girls, sends them in. By the way, his girl has the weirdest crimped Britney Spears haircut.
Yeah, I called her Britney.
Very
she
weird,
looks
man.
Like Britney.
And then they fight a bunch. Nothing of note happens during the fight, but Italian boobs wins.
Yep. And then
Paul Smith gets so mad.
Well, and Paul Smith is just unmotivated, and like he's clearly a bad guy.
Yes.
All he does, he squints and he knocks people over.
Once again.
That's it. That's literally it. That's all he does in the entire movie. And then nothing at this tavern has any recourse on the rest of the movie.
There's very little consequence.
Once they get outside, but Paul Smith's like, well, I'm not giving you a map. They get outside. They find Hupp, who is the little person that was hung on the thing. Hupp has somehow gotten down and inside their bag of supplies that the Elder was getting the whole time. So they didn't even need to be in the tavern in the first place because Elder was already handling everything.
That was a bad choice, Tarl.
Tarl, you idiot.
Also, Tarl seems to be now the adventurous one, and it doesn't even feel like he is from Earth anymore. You know how with fish out of water stuff, like, yes, he asks, what's a tavern? Or what's this? It's a tavern? Okay.
Oh,
but
cool.
He doesn't...
We shouldn't go in there. Why? I'm an Earthling.
He doesn't really, like, at this, in any other movie, he would not be adjusted to the planet or to the new environment as much as he already is.
Fucking white Earthling man.
I'm sorry, you are
gets
right.
In there, and all of a sudden, he knows better than everybody.
God.
He's fucking Earth-splaining
I was gonna say
to everybody about everything.
Yeah.
But this is one of my favorite moments in the movie, is when Hupp is like, hey, I'll show you the way to Oliver Reed's place. And they're like, well, we don't actually need you. We know where it's at.
Yeah, we got it. I checked the map out for a second.
And Hupp was like, no, I can get you there faster. And they were like, how? And he goes, I know all the shortcuts.
And it's gems like that.
And it was like, literally, all you needed was like...
pulls me back from the brink.
Yeah, like that moment. Because he sold that in a way that was like, ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba, shortcuts.
Honestly, he's one of the funnier people in this movie.
Yes. There's a moment where as they're on their way there, this was the stupidest fucking thing. They find a bunch of people who have captured... Like, they find a bunch of Oliver Reed's men who have captured a bunch of people, and they're turning them into slaves.
Yep.
and Tarl, like an idiot, makes a noise. Or his watch. He's wearing a fucking Casio watch. His watch beeps.
Of all the things that he took off.
And it's beeped earlier in the movie, too, and caused problems. And
right.
yet it beeps again. And the fucking idiot does not turn off his watch.
You don't need a clock, man.
Right.
That's not...
Time does not work on this planet the same way.
Or if
because of its distance from the sun. We don't know its rotation.
No.
One day could be 1 year. How do you need 24 fucking Earth hours? I'm sorry.
No, I get it. And also... it would be interesting, again, if the thing that Torm had put in the bag before had paid off. Yes. It would be interesting if the watch wasn't just a fucking thing that got them in trouble. It would be interesting if
actually, the watch
they
got them
timed
out
it
of
up.
trouble earlier, because what ends up happening... Oh, we forgot this part.
Oh, that's right.
So almost immediately after they leave, Paul Smith comes walking down a hill, and he's like, I'm going to take your slave anyways. And the way they get out is Tarl's watch beeps. They look at the watch.
Yeah.
And then he uses the watch like a mirror to reflect sunlight in Paul Smith's face.
You know, like how you distract a cat.
Yes. And then they stab him, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And then immediately later, like the next scene is when they come across this like group of Oliver Reed's men bringing a bunch of new slaves to Oliver Reed's lair.
Yep.
At which point his watch goes off. One guy is like in this like big flowery purple robe and a fucking helmet.
Yeah.
Goes like, you guys continue. I'm going to go check this out. He walks around the corner, checks it out. They punch him in the back of the head, knock him out. Tarl puts on the helmet, stands up and goes, hey, it's okay. I'm taking a pee.
It felt so much like Han Solo in the communications room where he's, hey, how are you? You know, just like that blasé.
Hey, I'm taking a pee.
Why did that work?
And then everybody goes,
cool.
All right.
We'll see you down.
See you later.
You take care. Yeah. And in this same procession, there are these carts that are empty but covered that they end up following this slave group.
Well, they crawl into...
Yeah, they run after them and jump into these carts.
This movie is...
And it's not explained that, oh, well, they're just using that to get to Oliver Reed because no time clearly passes. It feels like they get in and then get right back out.
That's exactly what it feels like. Well, and the other thing that's crazy about that, too, is like these carts are being pushed by like 20 slaves on each side.
It's mean.
And there are people with whips whipping these people on both sides, which is really sad and unfortunate, obviously. And there's like a bunch of people walking around who are like in charge of these people. And Tarl, Torm, Elder, Hupp, and Italian Boobs are able to run up behind these things, get in unnoticed, and then all of them are able to slip out unnoticed when Tarl is like,
all right, let's go.
I think I've been in here long enough.
Well, and it would make sense if they were using it as like a Trojan horse, like to get past a set of guards or something like that. Doesn't do that.
Because what ends up happening is they get out, they walk up a mountain, and like...
What do they find?
I'm telling you. Well, no.
Okay.
First of all, Lord of the Rings. There's a Lord of the Rings shot.
That's true.
This ccame out before Lord of the Rings, so Lord of the Rings definitely stole from Gore, because
clearly
that scene at the very end of the movie where they're all walking up the mountain.
Yeah,
just
and
before
there's
they
the aerial
separate.
shot around.
That exact shot is in this movie.
It really is. And
it's actually a great shot.
It's great, yeah.
Actually, we should talk about this because overall, this movie is directed by a man named Fritz Kirsch, who directed Children of the Corn, Tough Turf, and Into the Sun.
Okay.
I actually thought, as bad as the movie is in many ways, it's filmed pretty well, and the direction's not terrible.
Fine. Yeah.
And there's some good shots in it where I was like, oh, that was clever.
Well,
that was inventive.
I really liked the shot in the marketplace where they were clearly craning over and they were going in and out of these draped material, this like
it actually
shadow material.
Is in Kill Bill where the bride goes to O-Ren Ishii at the back of just before the Crazy 88's huge fight.
Yes.
There's a shot in that movie where she's walking, the crane kind of comes up and follows over her head. You're going to see part of the kitchen and other parts of the restaurant. This felt sort of similar in the marketplace.
It's true.
Not quite as stylish as Tarantino's shot.
Of course.
But it still has that like interesting element where I was like, oh, that's a good long shot.
Yeah.
That was fascinating. It was new. It was different. It was novel. All of the above.
Yeah. And In fact, I will say, even though the Fellowship of the Rings clearly stole this from Gore, they did it a little more colorfully, because
this whole movie was
beige as shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Like, there's beige on beige on beige until they get to Oliver Reed's place, and there's a little bit of color.
Well,
but
the
honestly,
only color in the movie is a red light.
there's a little bit of blue, but
A little
other than
bit of
that,
blue,
yeah.
but it's mostly red. So anyways, they go up the mountain and they go into Sarum's, what do they call it? Sarum's back door?
Back door!
Sarum's back door. And they sneak in.
Yep.
They are eventually caught. But what's weird is Italian Boobs, Torm, and Elder are taken one place.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tarl, the man who killed Oliver Reed's son, is brought to Oliver Reed, and Oliver Reed's like, hey, let's be friends.
This is going to be fun.
You know what?
I'm going to teach you how to live.
I'm going to give you one of my sex slaves. You
Yeah.
can have your way with her. Which, to the point where he's like, go, have fun. We're going to feast. We're going to dance.
And
It
that
looks
whole
like-
back area looked like what?
Oh
Your
my God.
favorite movie.
One of my favorite movies of all time. It looks like that scene in Showgirls where
Yes.
they're preparing for the show.
The Vegas, the big
Vegas
stage show.
Because it's got that, like, weird,
Golden Girl.
Golden Girls?
No, like, yeah. What were the girls called in James Bond?
I don't know, but I just imagined all of a sudden, like,
Betty
Arthur
and Betty White doing the
Rue
dances.
McClanahan and Estelle Getty in Showgirls, and now
Listen, that
Golden
would-
Showgirls.
Golden Showgirls.
Oh my God, that sounds like the greatest thing I've ever seen.
If
in my
they
entire
ever
life.
really perfect the face swapping
I will
technology,
definitely. That would be incredible. But anyways, it looks like that show in Showgirls where there's just like the dancing.
there's
with
choreography
dancing girls
in
in
there.
gold bikinis,
Yep.
and then like little volcano-y areas and the color matches.
Yep.
Like rocks. So anyways, at this point, the girl that Oliver Reed quote unquote gave to Tarl's like, where are the homestones? Where are the homestones? She's like, I'm only a pleasure slave. I know nothing.
Yep.
I'm a stupid girl. Which we're making jokes about it, but honestly, this movie is unkind to women.
Real bad.
And what's weird about it is it's not even mean as much as it is just lazy.
Well, it kind of comments on the fact that this shouldn't be the way it is.
Kind of.
But very,
yes.
I mean, I guess it doesn't. It just, by example, it shows how horrible this situation is for them. I don't think it glorifies it necessarily.
No.
It's from
Well, I mean,
the
down
bad guy's perspective that
Right.
this is the positive.
I mean, and down to the point where what ends up happening, and this is like part of what could be a plot point, but it's not because there are no plot points in this movie. They all just mean nothing, but
Nope.
it's no plot progression. It's insane.
God, no.
Like, these big things happen and you're like, wait.
And then they end up
this-
right fucking back where they were.
started. But anyways, what happens is they're doing what they call a possession ceremony,
Gross.
which turns out...
Which
it's,
I thought was going to have to do with demons, but we hadn't been introduced to demons, so I was like, where is this coming from?
I laughed so hard because I knew exactly what was coming up. Of
course you did.
Because it was a shot of a fucking branding iron
Oh,
in
I
a fire
know.
for like 2 minutes, and you were like, where are the demons? And I was like, AJ,
What?
they're going to brand the women.
Oh, like they're a possession.
They are a possession
Now I get
ceremony. and the realization on your face was fucking gold.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what ends up happening is Oliver Reed brands one woman, and it's horrifying.
Ugh.
And Oliver Reed's like, Tarl, my buddy, my pal.
You wanna try it
You're gonna
out?
be like my new son.
This will
We're
be
gonna
great.
be friends.
Yeah, I mean, you killed him, so now you have to be him.
Yes. So, anyways, here's a brand, and Tarl's like, yeah, I'll fucking brand someone.
Neat.
I don't fucking care.
Cool.
Give me a slave woman to brand.
Pulls off the cloak of the middle girl and
it's Italian boobs.
Talena, no!
Yes. At which point, Tarl is like, oh, right.
Well, I don't think that Tarl was falling under Oliver Reed's spell. I think he was pretending. Don't you think?
No, I think you're right. But I mean, like...
He was just trying to get close enough.
But I guarantee if that wasn't Talena, he would have branded that woman.
Probably.
He would have.
Although he was sort of it seemed, waiting to get handed a weapon or the brand, which he was.
Yeah,
He was
they
actually...
gave him the brand.
And then he almost brands Talena, and then, nope, into Oliver Reed's gut.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which Oliver Reed is shirtless through most of this movie. And
I'm
his
sure...
pants are pulled up so high you can't see his belly button, because I think they were trying to hide his gut.
I was going for an 8-pack, but it turned into a...
Keg!
That's right.
At this point, I fell asleep. So what happened? I have no clue. I was out.
At that point, they actually...
We watched this in fucking 2 p.m, broad fucking daylight, and I was out.
It makes absolute sense because this movie meant nothing. None of it meant anything. So he goes...
It meant a lot to me, AJ.
Okay, what did it mean? That we got to hang out?
Yes.
Because that's the only thing it meant.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I got to sleep next to
Oh,
you.
we're getting a little too real here.
I know.
Okay.
Okay.
So what you missed was that he says, hey, you guys look for a way out. I'm going to go find Telena's father, who, he's the only prisoner. He's absolutely the only prisoner.
We were so confused because his name is King Marlanus.
Yeah.
He's in Gore 2, he's in Zulu, he's in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. His name's Larry Taylor, that's the actor who plays him. He looks exactly like Elder.
Without the headpiece, they could be
small
twins.
Little headpiece that Elder wears.
Yeah.
To the point where I was like, when I woke up, I was like, how did Elder get captured?
Honestly, since we hadn't seen Elder in so long, I was like, yeah, that's absolutely Elder. So it's King Marlanus, and he actually does the most dickish thing. He's like, okay, I'm going to free you. And he's like, okay, thank you. He's like, well, help me. And Tarl says, like, grab the chains so I can use this hammer that where did you get the goddamn hammer? Tarl, where is this hammer? He's like a cartoon.
God damn it, Tarl.
He pulls it out from his back like a fucking mallet. And so he smashes it, frees his father-in-law, right? Because that's going to happen, inevitably. And he gets everybody out, and as they're running for the door, he meets up with Elder, and he meets up with Torm, and they're almost out of there. And then, oh no! Torm gets stabbed in the gut! And so that's why...
I was awake for this.
Yes, you were.
This part I was awake for.
And that's why Rufus Swart is not in Gore 2. Oh,
he asked for that.
Did.
He asked for that.
I'm sure he had the Han Solo clause in there, being like, I don't want to. Put me in carbonite. God damn it.
Well, and then what happens? And I thought this was crazy. Is they run away, and it's the second they get out, they're like, "Yay, we're free!"
Immediately,
they're captured.
Yep,
and brought right back in.
It's like the last 20 minutes hadn't even happened.
Yeah, it was insane.
But Tarl is still free. That's
Tarl
the only difference.
Yeah. And Oliver Reed is like, I'm going to throw all of you into a blazing pit of fire.
It's going to be funny.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be funny.
Yes.
And I am going to kill you all by the end of this sentence. Kill them all!
Yes,
right? Yeah.
Basically. So the first person he throws in is the slave girl.
I know. Who was branded.
Not the other one. That one was about to be branded, but wasn't actually branded.
That they freed,
He tosses her into the fire, and then he does this churlish little giggle where he's like... At which point Tarl pops out, shoots an arrow, ha ha ha, he misses.
Whoops. Uh-oh. Elder's gonna go in because he missed.
Or was it
the
king?
Talena?
I think it's the king. Because he had no shirt on except for like that white furry sweater.
Doesn't even matter
which
at this
was
point.
Just his chest hair.
Oh, that's right.
And
could
then
have knitted something out of that.
Tarl pops back out, shoots again. The arrow goes right through Oliver Reed's neck.
Oof.
He falls into the pit of fire, a la Johnny Cash.
And explodes. It's like he was full of gasoline.
All of Oliver Reed's men are standing there, including his second in charge.
Yeah.
And they're just like, all right, well, I guess you guys are free.
So we cancel the rest of that.
Have a good day. See you later. Bye. Peace. They get the homestone back. They go back to where the homestone lives. They put it in. The king takes his place, and they're doing this big speech. And all of a sudden, fucking Jack Palance, who is third billed in the movie, shows up for the first time.
That's right. City Slickers Jack fucking Palance.
One-armed push-ups, Jack fucking Palance.
Tango and Cash, Batman, Young Guns, Alone in the Dark, Gore 2.
Contempt. And Shane.
And those. Oh,
and
of course,
City
Shane.
Slickers, too.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyways, Jack Palance shows up, and I did enjoy this, because every person in this movie had a little butt cheek going on.
Oh, yeah.
Jack Palance was in a fucking toga
Smock.
from neck to ankles.
That's right.
All the way covering down his hands. And I know what happened is they showed up on set and they said, Jack, here's your costume. He was like, no fucking way I'm wearing that. Give me
Do you know
a
who
toga.
I am?
Yeah. And this is before City Slickers, to be fair.
That's
so
true.
Jack Palance wasn't quite Jack
Well,
Palance.
he was an older
Yes.
star, you
but
know,
like,
from...
he didn't have that
He was on the
uptick.
next level. Yeah.
He didn't have
was
that uptick. He was
correct.
sort of
Not
like
yet.
in that middle place of like he used to do a bunch of westerns,
Right.
but now he's irrelevant.
A little bit of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah. He was,
Yeah.
Probably further down the Rick Dalton road than at that point. But anyways, and basically Chuck Palance is like, they're like, who are you? And he's like,
Yeah, everybody's giving him the side eye. They're like,
I'm
why are you looking at my ass cheek?
Yeah.
Why are you doing
that? Why are you doing that? And he's basically like, I'm the former priest. I used to live here, and now I'm a priest, and I'm back.
You know how Oliver Reed was a priest that went mad with power?
Anyways,
well, I'm a priest,
and I'm here to hang out.
I haven't gone mad with power yet.
And then all of a sudden, Tarl takes his ring, shoves it in the homestone.
Yeah.
He goes back. He punches Arnold Vosloo in the face.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, full
Beverly's
circle.
like, oh my god, you punched a man in the face.
You're kind of cute.
Oh my god.
So did Talena go with him? Because she's...
No.
Because when he disappears from the room with the homestone, she was holding his arm, and I didn't see her in that room still.
Well, she also wasn't on Earth.
Okay.
So, well, it's unclear.
I mean, we didn't see her on Earth, but
we're
gonna
have to watch Gore too.
Damn it.
To find out.
All right.
AKA Outlaw of Gore.
Ooh. Okay.
And basically the movie ends with Jack Palance in this monologue that's like, the slave girl, King was obsessed with her, which was great for me because he was obsessed with her, and now the only one thing that can stop me is a man named. And that's all in voiceover.
Oh, that's right.
And then out of nowhere, Jack Palance just goes, Tarl Cabot. Which
I can't do it.
If you were standing, because he's amongst a bunch of people.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is, if you're not there for the voiceover, he's just walking through looking like a creep, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he goes, Tarl Cabot.
Like what?
What? Did you? Why did you mention Tarl?
Who's Tarl?
Never mind.
That was weird.
Yeah, never mind. It's okay. Go back to what you're doing.
Are you plotting something, Jack Palance?
No. I'm not.
Are you sure?
I'm not. Not at all.
Okay. What? You kind of like
no,
you
no,
looked.
No. It was.
Like
I know what it looked like.
Did I hear voiceover before?
Listen, I ate a bunch of beans for lunch.
Oh,
I'm gassy.
Okay, so that was a burp, not you saying Tarl Cabot?
It was a burp.
Okay.
That turned into a fart.
That makes a lot of sense,
Yes.
actually.
Just like that wet fart, Tarl Cabot.
Wait, what?
What?
No, never mind.
Did you say something?
Never mind.
I missed it. Yeah,
Tarl
so
Cabot.
that's the end of this movie.
Yeah. And then
this podcast is officially longer than the movie.
Yeah, then over the credits is the rip-off Superman music.
Theme, yep. So let's ask if there's anything that is canon about this movie that you'd either like to steal or put in the canon.
I would like to steal some of the shots.
I
like
agree.
I think the over the market shot was really cool. I think the
Lord of the Rings shot.
Lord of the Rings shot. Yeah, I'm sure that you were going to say that one, but I really did like a couple of the far away shots, you know, they did some good establishing stuff. Also, I know this is small, but the effect of the arrow going through Oliver Reed's neck,
That was a good effect.
really good, actually. Yeah. I can't think of really, like, all of the costumes were just made of rubber and shitty. All of the fighting was awful. The plot was
Nonsense.
dreadful.
I think
I can't think of anything else. Like,
honestly, I think you kind of hit it.
directionlessness,
Aimlessness.
aimlessness.
I mean, if we think of this, so like as far as like canon is concerned,
Yeah.
I think the extreme ADR feels very canon.
Oh, very much. Yeah.
In its construction, I think the length. I mean, it's 94 minutes, and I'm assuming
Perfect.
this might have been a 2-hour movie where they were like, because Menachem Golan, one of the things that Menachem Golan was known for. And this was dead center of Go-Go Boys years.
Yeah.
Actually, I shouldn't say dead center. This was towards the end of the Go-Go Boys years. Menachem Golan was known for wanting movies to be 90 minutes because they could be played more times in theaters.
Of course.
You can get 5 or 6 showtimes instead of 4 or 5. You might even be able to get 7 showtimes, so it's more money in the pocket. So length, some of the actors were and the writers were very canon heavy people. But honestly, I don't know. I don't know what else. This feels. You know what this actually feels like in some of its ridiculousness and some of its aimlessness is the canon movies that were made primarily for children. It had some of that like weird super Fantagenio thing going on, or going bananas, or even like Puss in Boots, where it's like, I don't know why I'm watching the scene drag out over 25 minutes when it literally could have been 3 minutes.
Kind of like Too Much too.
Yeah, Too Much
also,
as well.
Yeah, just a weird.
It literally had too much.
A weird, aimless journey that kind of ends up back with everything being okay.
Yeah.
And the bad guys aren't really too much of a threat, except they did kill that girl. So
yeah,
that's
well. They also killed Torm. They Torm him open.
Steaks. Maybe have some steaks in your movie.
Steaks. I feel like most of what we can learn from this movie is how to make better things. And
agreed.
I also think too. And again, I'm so sorry for those who love fantasy.
Yeah.
Like, figuring out a way to make all the fucking nonsense make sense.
Yeah.
This is what Peter Jackson did really well.
He streamlined it, kind of.
He streamlined it, and he also didn't make it feel... I think that's what part of it was, too, is this felt like an exposition dump, and it was just a bunch of words that were fucking insane. Whereas in Lord of the Rings, there's a lot of shit that feels insane, but it happens in familiar ways, or some of that insanity is revealed several times throughout the movie.
Sure.
So it doesn't all feel like it's coming at me at once.
Helpful with the repetition, absolutely.
Yeah. In Lord of the Rings, but like they also parse it out. Where
Right,
it's like,
sure.
You learn about the wraiths, and then something else happens, and then you learn about this, and then something else happens, and then you learn about that, and then something else happens.
Well, and I think this one, with all of the exposition stuff, was almost like it was trying to feign more complicated of a story when it really, really was not. It was just like window dressing for it to distract you from how simplistic this movie was.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
Anyways.
So would you recommend this, Nick?
Honestly, actually, I think this is one of those movies where, I mean, I would recommend it for 2 reasons.
Okay.
One, if you need an afternoon nap, throw on Gore.
Clearly.
It'll put you right to sleep.
Yep.
And number 2, if you and your friends enjoy the whole Mystery Science Theater 3000 kind of a thing.
You will be able to make fun of this stuff.
Yeah, like, have 5 friends over, get high, watch this movie.
Definitely.
And have a great time. Because it's a weird thing. Oftentimes, you and I... and I'm just going to let everyone else in on the secret. We watch the movies fairly quiet. We might make a comment of like, "Oh, that was a good shot," or I found us screaming at this movie and Mystery Science Theater 3000ing this movie in ways that hardly ever happens.
Right. It's true.
Which I think is it's like almost like a fight or flight mechanism that kicks in, because in that sense, I actually enjoyed my experience watching this movie.
Oh, agreed. Because when
I did not enjoy the movie.
No, because when you can't fly away, when you have a responsibility to your listeners to sit through the entirety of the movie, you can't flight.
Yes.
So you need to fight the movie. And I would have. If it was a physical thing, I would have fought the movie.
Yeah. To like a slave girl fighting another slave girl for a map.
That's
there was actually a point in this movie at the half-hour mark where I said to AJ, I was like, "Can we just stop now, record an episode, and then just watch this in 3 parts and do a 3-part episode, because I don't know if I can handle this." So I guess on that note,
yeah. All right, Nicholas, what are we doing next time in Cannonverse?
Next time in Cannonverse, we are doing... I don't know what I was getting geared up for.
Ooh.
The next time in Cannonverse, we are doing what I think of as one of the quintessential canon movies.
Okay.
When I think of canon, there's like 10 movies that I think everyone knows.
Yes.
And one of them is this, which
Okay.
is The Delta Force.
The Delta Force.
Starring a whole litany of people, but specifically a Chuck Norris movie.
Hey.
Lee Marvin, Martin Balsam, Joey Bishop, Robert Forster, Lainey Kazan, George Kennedy, Bo Svensson, Robert Vaughn, Shelley Winters.
Oh, my God.
So it's a huge cast.
Yeah, you've seen the cover of it.
Yes.
Absolutely. If you've been in a video store.
Written and directed by Menachem Golan.
Yep.
So, yeah, this will be a bit of a sister episode to the Vigilante Cannon Blast that we just put out. So, or that we're about to put out. I might have spoiled something. Ooh, you shall find out.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this one. I'm really excited to dive into some real quintessential canon.
Nice.
And I feel like it makes perfect sense because we're coming up at this point on our one year anniversary.
Oh,
Yeah.
1 year anniversary in the Cannonversary.
Yes, in the
Cannonversary.
Cannonversary.
Aw,
So
fun times.
yeah,
All
here
right.
we go.
Yeah, the Delta Force next
The
week.
Delta Force.
All right, that sounds wonderful. I am excited to see that movie next time. And Nick, where can people follow you?
People can follow me on the Twitters, Nicholas C. Pappas.
Nice.
You can also, check out my website, nicholascpappas.com.
That's Pappas.
Yes, a website that will forever be under construction.
What if one day it wasn't? That would be incredible.
I would have to find time to do something,
That's
which
fair,
I would like
that's
to
fair.
do.
Sure.
I'm too busy watching movies with you.
Oh shit, we can.
No.
Okay. Well, you can follow me at the AJ Hamilton, and I am at www.theajhamilton.com with a website as well.
Is it under construction?
It is always
Nice.
true too.
Yeah,
I mean, but
good.
we're all under construction, right? We're never a finished product.
Thanks.
There you go.
Rodney
And
Dangerfield.
You can, yep, no respect. And you can follow us at Creating Cannon, that's CANNON, and email us, creatingcannon@gmail.com.
Tell us why we're wrong about fantasy.
Absolutely, please do. Yeah, we'd love to have a wonderful, spirited discussion, or just swear at us.
Yeah, fine
that's fine too.
We will read your email on the air.
Yes, we actually will. Yeah, and
All the swearing involved. I'm gonna write an email.
swearing at us, fighting us.
Just you.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
And I'm gonna make you read it.
I can't wait. That's going to be super meta. All right. And as we always say at the end of these episodes, what do we say?
Good night and good cannon. Wait. Let's do it. Let's do it again.
Okay.
Let's do it again. But let's do it like Oliver Reed.
And as we always say at the end of each and every episode,
Good night. And good can. None.
Them Gibson buns. All right.
Don't get them Gibson. Get them Oliver Reed buns. It's like two gigantic hams. It's like two full-on pigs with a piece of bread in between. Okay, keep going.
Why isn't it on, AJ? Why not? Because you're an idiot.
Both
They're-
literally and physically.
And there go. That's TNA.
I'm fine with you keeping that whole sentence in here.
Great.
Sort of. This is why we can't do this live.
Could you control yourself?
I am going to do this podcast today as if I was Oliver Reed. Do you understand me?
That's unusable.
You're welcome. This movie made me hate all kinds of buns. Sticky buns, honey buns, long buns. Oh my god, that's weird.
What is it?
That this movie was panned upon its release.
Widely banned.
Wildly panned!
All right. What are you?
I'm a fucking professional.
That's goddamn right. Let's do this. Should that be the end? I guess I can wrap it up. Wrap it up a little bit. What do you think? Nick. Is it?
I fell asleep again. What?